Okay, so pretty exciting today. This morning I'm going to rent a 5-meter trailer and pick up 2 lots of walnut. One that I bought from my local woodyard. They've just recently planked, and that's going to need, depending on my barn, that's going to need at least 3 years drying. But the other pieces, which are virtually a whole tree, are massive. I've never seen slabs so big. The plan for those is going to be 3 very large tables, maybe for some sort of office or meeting room. I'm not going to cut into them, I'm just literally going to make big slab tables. There's 6 pieces and I should get 3 tables out of them. So I'll show you those when we get there, and next week, hopefully Thursday, maybe Friday, I'm actually collecting a tree that's been felled already, another walnut, English walnut, and I'm going to be taking that to the sawmill and planking it, or having them plank it. So I'll take you along for that as well. That should be interesting. I started out by thinking I was going to use my chainsaw mill at this walnut tree I'm collecting next week, and since meeting the nice guys at the sawmill here, it just seems pointless hiring a trailer, taking it to the sawmill and paying them to put it on their amazing bandsaw. It's going to be much quicker for me, it's going to be a better job, less waste because of the thickness of the blade. Just overall it should be a better experience. So anyway, let's have a look what we got today. So it's a really nasty wet morning this morning for picking up trees on the back of trailers, but that's just how it is. Thought I'd switch the camera around and show you a bit of the lovely English countryside, even though it's raining. So we're just going through the woods now. This is Mortimer Forest, is where we are, just outside of Ludlow, and this forest is absolutely huge. I do some biking here with my son. There's 2 sides to the forest with the biking, and it just goes on and on and on. So this first lot of wood, which is pretty amazing, is coming from a very fine traditional cabinet maker that is retiring, or sort of changing into development, I think, property development, fun enough. So he stored this absolutely flat on concrete for 5 years. It is perfect right now for making furniture. So I'm going to store this in my barn. As flat as I can. Okay, so this is the last pickup. We are going to the woodyard to collect the oak tree that's just been cut for me. I found I come across this in the yard and they planked it. It's a very interesting grain, super character, a bit different to the one we've just collected, much narrower, long boards again. I've also picked up finally the stainless steel bands for the hot tub, so it was a bit handy collecting this trailer today for the morning, as the hot tub bands are 6 meters long, so they're just fitted on the trailer, perfect. So yeah, just going into the woodyard. Cunning plan for the reversing. So that you can see on the right, the kind of grey building, that's their kiln, really good. They dry the wood, and not being a very good driver of the trailer, I'm gonna stay here for a minute. This woodyard is absolutely amazing. You just look, there is trees everywhere. I do all my videos from the UK. This is probably the closest I've felt to being in one of the American yards, when you see their saw next week cutting up a tree, fully automated, hand racking. It's quite awesome. So I've got steel bands for the hot tub, I've got a walnut tree coming, and this is the other walnut. Absolutely awesome. So I often get asked where I get my wood from. Where do you get the slabs? Where do you buy the slabs? It's a big question. I understand why people ask, but it's a good example today really. I've made a good kind of friendship relationship with the woodyard, local sawmill. It's taken about a year for that to establish, and then kind of got talking to the sawmill owner's son who also works there. He had a walnut tree because he does tree surgery, so that happened to come around, so I bought that. It's a bit feast and famine at the moment with the walnut. I was getting a bit concerned about the smaller bits and my stock for the future, and now suddenly I've got 2 whole trees on the back of a trailer, and with a bit of luck I'm collecting a tree which needs to be sawn next week, so suddenly I'm going to have loads of it. But again, that's word of mouth, and it is a slow build. It isn't any sort of secret stashes that I know about. And when you're talking about oak in England anyway, it's much easier to find. And if you're looking for bur oak, really more than anything, it's just money. Sawmills know these days that people can use the bur oak, or if it's really character. So it's not discarded for firewood anymore. Some of the really bad split bur oak, which furniture makers traditionally wouldn't have used. So it's really establishing a relationship is the key, and you know, just being loyal, buying stuff from people, and you know, hopefully over time you'll find out. Also word of mouth about the fact that you'll always take the trees. If someone says to you, like which happened to me last week, oh, I've got a walnut tree over the back, and you go, oh well, I've just bought one, and you're not really going to be their first call when they find some gold. So it's being ready to take it. I'm lucky now that I have a big barn to store it, which I didn't before, so I'll now be able to set up some really good level pallet ground for this and just forget about it, you know, for a few years. Best would be 4 years, but I could check some of the thinner stuff in 3 years and see how it's going. It's quite a long process, but in the end it's definitely always worth it.
Yeah, keep coming.
Okay, we couldn't have picked a worse day, but at least we're inside here. These are pretty epic boards. I see resin here. Both these boards are beautiful, some resin in there, lovely grain. These are pretty epic walnut boards. This one is absolutely massive. Okay, getting there. 6 boards, another beauty. There you go. Underneath there's got an amazing hole for some resin. In fact, we'll leave that off because I'm going to have a look at that later. Got some little boards there, and yeah, 6 absolutely epic walnut boards. So there's a really nice one. Rot from here right the way down to there, which obviously without resin would be one board there and one there, but with resin that's going to be a beauty. This one doesn't have any rot, only this hole. Really good. Have a little hole here. So that is a wonderful board. So pretty cool it was raining today because you get to see the grain. I mean, this is just incredible. Look at this one, the figuring there. There it is, one of the walnut trees. Look at even this top slice. So that's a good morning's work. It's taken a bit longer than expected because it's been pretty hideous weather today, but that is very, very good.